Hi my friends, I'm glad to be back for another video. In case you don't know me yet, my name is Sylvie and I help women lose weight and feel great through fasting and whole food nutrition. In today's video, we are going to talk about intermittent fasting without keto. So I am going to explain how intermittent fasting works for weight loss, how the keto diet works for weight loss, how you can benefit from intermittent fasting and keto together, and lastly, I am going to explain why intermittent fasting without keto works. So first, let's talk about how the keto diet and intermittent fasting help you lose weight. When you are doing intermittent fasting, your body runs out of glycogen during your fast. Usually around the 12-hour mark, your glycogen stores are getting pretty low, and it starts resorting to your fat cells to produce ketones for energy. When your body uses ketones for energy, it has a few benefits, and one of them is that it helps you feel full faster. It regulates your appetite. And also it's using fat, so that helps lose the fat that you have stored. Now, I said that it takes about 12 hours to your glycogen stores to start getting depleted. That doesn't mean that after 12 hours you will be in ketosis. It varies a lot from one person to the next. I noticed, and with experience, you'll start being able to tell, you'll start being able to feel the difference and know if you're in ketosis. I started using a ketone meter a few months ago, and I'll put a link in the description below if you are curious about which one I'm using. And that's what I did when I got started to get an idea of whether I was in ketosis or not. And now I can pretty much just feel it. I feel the difference. I feel my appetite decrease and I feel really energetic. It takes me about 18 hours or so most days. That's why I'm using the Warrior Diet to achieve my weight loss goal. But again, it's going to be something you will have to experiment with. Now, what the ketogenic diet does is it mimics fasting, but you don't need to go without food. So by eating a very low amount of carb with a ketogenic diet, only 5% of your macronutrient intake is going to be carbs, or usually around 20 to 50 grams. That's how your body will run out of glycogen, not because you're not eating. And just to give you an idea of what 20 grams of carbs look like, it would be about 3 pounds of spinach, 400 grams of raspberries or blackberries, 150 grams of blueberries, cup and a half of pecans, or a nice big plate of spinach, zucchini, tomatoes, and peppers. So it is certainly something that's very doable, and many people experience great health and success with the ketogenic diet. And you can certainly benefit from using both intermittent fasting and the keto diet to reach your health goals, and many people do. Also, when you're just getting started with fasting, the ketogenic diet will help you kickstart ketosis. And once you're in ketosis, fasting is so much easier. If you just get started with intermittent fasting without having been in ketosis, you might find it a lot more difficult, and it will take a while to get in ketosis. Once you have been in ketosis, it's easier to get back into it. If you do the ketogenic diet, you will probably experience what is called the keto flu, and that's a good sign that you'll know that ketosis is coming. And so after maybe a few days on the keto diet, you'll start feeling ill. You might feel really tired. You might have a headache. You might kind of feel like you have a flu. It's not very nice, but it might be worth it. The way I kickstart ketosis was through the fasting mimicking diet. The fasting mimicking diet is a 5-day fast that severely restricts your calories. So you're eating only 40 to 50% your regular calorie intake. And a calorie restriction like that also helps kickstart ketosis, and it promotes autophagy. In some cases, doing both the keto diet and intermittent fasting might be too much stress on your body. Particularly if you are a woman, I recommend you proceed with caution. And ketogenic diet have been shown to help with metabolic health and weight loss. However, carbs are important for hormonal health, particularly with women. Women might even experience something called amenorrhea, which means that their cycles stop. There's a few factors that may cause amenorrhea in a woman. There's too few calories, too few carbs, too much weight loss, too much stress, or too much exercise. There are 3 aspects of your hormonal health that you need to be aware of if you are going to do fasting or the ketogenic diet. There's the hormone leptin. Leptin is the hormone that makes you feel full and satisfied. It has been shown to be linked to your reproductive health, and it is produced by your fat cells. And there's also cortisol. Cortisol is an amazing hormone. It's a stress hormone, but it has many benefits. For example, it helps you lose weight, it helps reduce inflammation. But if you have too much cortisol in your body, it can have the opposite effect. And so it'll make you store fat and it will lower estrogen production. Next, there's your thyroid function. It has been shown that the main thyroid hormone, which is called T3, is sensitive to calorie and carb consumption. Now you can see that all these hormones are sensitive to both calorie restriction and carb restriction. And that is why having both calorie restriction and carb restriction might be too much. Even though you're not technically restricting calories when you are intermittent fasting, you are restricting your calories while you are fasting. And usually you will be reducing the amount of calories you consume naturally when you do intermittent fasting, because your eating window is not as long and you just tend to eat less than you would otherwise. If you decide to do intermittent fasting without keto, you need to decide how many carbs you'll be consuming and what carbs you should be consuming. So let me help you with that. I find that most women thrive on a moderate carb diet. I know that if I eat too many carbs, I tend to feel hungrier and it is harder to fast. Some women do extremely well on high carb diets, and that would be over 225 grams. When you are eating carbs, I suggest that you focus on fruits and vegetables of all kinds, legumes, nuts and seeds, whole grains in moderation, and tubers like potatoes, Jerusalem artichokes, jicama, and yams. These are all delicious carb options that you can experiment with. So why does intermittent fasting without keto work? As I mentioned already, your body will run out of glycogen and start producing ketones with both intermittent fasting and the keto diet. And that's why ketones will give you a better mental focus, more energy, a better mood, less appetite, and a better sleep. If you're still not sure whether you would like to do intermittent fasting with or without the keto diet, you might want to start experimenting with the keto diet part-time. So you could possibly do intermittent fasting and the keto diet for maybe a week or 2, see how you feel, and then go back to a higher carb diet. Keep intermittent fasting and compare and play around with that. We're all very individual, and so you need to find what works best for you. Also, if you're just getting started with intermittent fasting, it's a good idea to kickstart ketosis with the keto diet. Or if you don't want to be counting carbs and worrying about that, you can start with the fasting mimicking diet once a month for a few months, and then experiment with intermittent fasting throughout the month. That's what I did, and that really worked well for me. I loved having mostly total food freedom during the rest of the month when I was not doing the fasting mimicking diet. And I did try various forms of intermittent fasting, like the 5-2 method or the eat, stop, eat diet. So that's something you can do as well. If you would like to know more about exactly what I did to kickstart my weight loss and increase my energy level through intermittent fasting and the fasting mimicking diet, I will leave the link to my blog post in the description and go read it. There's more information in there. In summary, if you are looking for true food freedom, intermittent fasting is certainly a great option, and it works. It works because your body will get into ketosis and your appetite will naturally decrease. So consuming fewer calories will come more naturally, and it will not be an exercise in self-control. You will also notice that you have more energy, more focus, but just remember, everyone is unique. You need to find what works for you. And if you would like some help to figure out which type of fasting is best for you, I have a fun quiz. It's called What is Your Fasting Personality? So I will leave the link for that in the description below as well. Thanks for watching.